Welcome to Bitcoin Center Radio, recorded live from downtown Miami's expanding business district.
Awesome. And we are live, guys, here for episode 2 of the Bitcoin Center Radio podcast. I am Matthew Mano, the operations manager here at the Blockchain Center Miami. And today I have a very special guest, guys. I am joined by none other than Nick Spanos himself, the Bitcoin pioneer, the OG, the original founder of the Bitcoin Center New York City, the head of Zap.org, and just an all-around legend. Nick, how's it going today, bud?
Pretty good. What's going on, Matt?
Not much. Just surviving here down in Miami. They're slowly starting to shut everything down. You know, Florida's a little behind the rest of the world, but how's the current situation looking up in New York?
Yeah, we're getting shut down here. Most of the stores are closed. You got some, the delis are open and some other stores and stuff, but a lot of the streets, there aren't that many people on the streets. Miami, I hear you got all the spring breakers down there.
Yeah, man, these spring breakers do not like to listen to social distancing rules. I think they just finally started shutting down the beaches because, the kids were still drinking hard, partying hard on the beaches all day and all night. So that definitely wasn't good for the containment policy.
Yeah.
So the bodegas
are to be young.
So the bodegas are open, but it's a ghost town up there, you're saying?
Yeah, many things are closed. Some things are open, I foresee maybe, more closings, of course. When this thing really hits, the numbers doubled as of yesterday in New York City.
Jesus.
I don't know if you know this, but I've been talking about this for a while. Everyone thought I was crazy, but
oh yeah, you were raising the flag about this back, I think even before January, like months ago.
Yeah.
And
I saw small news coming out of China there, and I read into it deeper and deeper, and I saw that it was going to happen here. It was going exponential there. I saw it going exponential. I did some math. I think a lot of our politicians haven't done high school algebra or something, or haven't revisited high school algebra because that's the only math you need.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I think the problem here is that the testing in America is still an absolute joke. It's still utter chaos here. People are unable to get tested. Even if they're finding a test site, it's only open for a few hours. They're running out of tests. So I think we got at least another month or two left of pain while these numbers kind of catch up because it's still severely underreported. And people forget America is the third biggest country in the world. We got 330 million people. So what's your take? You think another month or two of pain, or you think it could stretch on all the way to the summer?
Well, listen, the testing, the number of people that get tested and show up positive doesn't really matter because you're not testing everybody unless you take a sampling of the demographics of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have very small groups, like how many people are already sick, how many people this, how many people that, all the different groups. And then you can test all those groups, or you test a broad spectrum, but take the data that you need out. They should make it available. Say, listen, we did all these tests, random tests
mm-hmm.
on this age group, this age, all the different ages, all the different people with different health situations.
Yeah.
And different parts of the country or whatever, and the density at which people are. And they should take all that data and make it available. That's what we're trying to do over here on hackthevirus.org. We're getting as much data as possible. I got a bunch of data scientists on here and epidemiologists and virologists and stuff. And they are putting together the data that we can actually know what's happening. Because with the data that's being given out, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're saying, the amount of people who are infected in New York doubled yesterday. No, the amount of people in New York did not double. What happened was the amount of testing went up, and because there's even more than 2,000 some odd infected in New York. I mean, there are people, because when someone's infected, I know about 20 some odd of them in New York that are infected. Mm-hmm. And if I know 20 some odd in New York that are infected, That's not the demographic of how many people I know in New York, 20 to 2,000, you know. So the top number would be 8 to 9 million. So 20 is to 2,000 as X is to 9 million. So that's not how many people I know. I don't know X amount of people in New York. So there are a lot more people, they're infected, and that's a reality. And the testing doesn't really do anything except tell someone that they are positive to stay away from other people. But the reality is, I think the best thing is everyone should stay home for a while, a few
Absolutely.
weeks for starters, and where we could get some better numbers, a better handle on the numbers. There's a numbers game here. That's why I picked it up a couple months ago, and I knew it was going to happen because I understand numbers. I don't understand viruses. I understand numbers.
It makes sense. Yeah, I'm just concerned about how slow the U.S. response has been. We like to call ourselves the most advanced country in the world, but when it comes to this virus, man, it seems like we're a few months behind trying to tackle it and take care of it. So I don't really have, much faith in government to get the job done, but hopefully like people themselves are going to take matters into their own hands and stay home and do the best they can to kind of, flatten out that curve there and to, stop the spread as much as possible.
Yes. I think everyone has to do their due diligence and understand what they should be doing. Staying home is one of the things that they should be doing for now, but they have to keep their nose to the grindstone and their ear on the street and educate themselves. This is the new future. So things are going to happen that are different from what their normal reality is. And plus it's a good time. I mean, like I've told other people the story of the two lumberjacks, one guy bet the other guy that he could cut more wood. So they started from dawn to dusk, and then they started chopping. And one guy would stop every 15 minutes, and the other guy thought he said, "Oh, I'm winning," because the other guy keeps resting. And then when it was all over, the guy that stopped every 15 minutes had twice as much lumber. And he goes, "How do you have twice as much lumber when you stop to rest every 15 minutes?" And the guy goes, "I didn't stop to rest. I stopped to sharpen my axe." So this is a good time to sharpen your axe,
Yeah.
Take some online courses, learn how to code, learn anything. Go online at the blockchaincenter.com and figure out we have a bunch of courses, and people can learn these courses and enroll to courses. And, it's pretty simple now. It's not like when I grew up with computers, right now everything's so simple. I don't even know why they call it coding. It's pretty simple. Everything's right there in front of you. You can do anything you want, connect it to everywhere. You can learn a lot. I mean, there are people who have made major contributions to the coding world that were only coded for a little bit over a year. So
Right.
That's something.
Good time to double down, on the online education. Us Bitcoiners are no strangers to the digital decentralization. Blockchain Center has a ton of courses coming up. We're launching them actually in a few days. We got blockchain theory, Solidity smart contract programming, JavaScript for blockchain. We got an amazing fast track university there. So stay home, but be productive with your time. Push yourself to evolve in this digital revolution. I think the next wave of illiterate people are going to be, those that don't know how to code and are basically computer illiterate. They're going to get left behind, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're going to be the sheep of the internet or the goat sheep instead of being the sheep herder.
Right. Instead of being the sheepdog there.
Protecting.
Exactly. So for our guests that aren't too familiar with you, what's your background and how did you first hear of Bitcoin? How did you first get involved in Bitcoin?
I'm a libertarian. I'm a technologist. I had a bunch of technology companies. I was in the late 70s, and it's a lot different than today. I knew that was going to happen. The desktop. I built out a mail order Heathkit, which is because you couldn't buy one off the shelf, a computer at that time. I was very early with technology. When we got the the GUI and the domain name space after it was only IP addresses. I bought 12,000 domain names. In the early 90s, we built out a couple sites like getaroom.com, nomorehotels.com, which is early precursor to Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
We've built many things. As a libertarian, I believe that, in competing currency, like Ron Paul said, I worked for Ron Paul. I was his director of voter contact. I managed all his data. I ran his phone banks. I set up all his voice over IP systems. We had incredible volunteers, 200-300 volunteers at each phone bank. We had about a dozen or so phone banks, and we made record number of phone calls, which when you pushed into the voice over IP phone sets, it would populate the database with the questions that we're asking. It would have different scripts, and we'd figure out what people were for, and we'd figure out what they were for, and we'd find the people that were for things that Ron Paul was for. We'd mail them the specific papers on the things that, the issues that they were interested in. And, I've done that since the 80s and managed phone banks with computers. Well, it's been a long trip. So I built the Bitcoin Center 2013, 100 feet from the New York Stock Exchange. I felt there was a big need for the world to know what blockchain was, because before that, everything was back alley.
Right.
And there was a few dozen people, and we all knew each other. We still know each other. Most of them are billionaires now. And I'm not one of those, so don't ask me for any money.
So yeah, you started the original, Bitcoin Center back in 2013, banking on Bitcoin.
Yeah, we're 100 feet. Yeah. Oh yeah, the movie. They made a movie about it called Banking on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. It's on Hulu and Amazon and whatever. We rocked it. You got to find out what the Bitcoin Center was. That's how you know how long someone was in Bitcoin. I was in it from the beginning. If they never heard of the Bitcoin Center, then they were not in it from the beginning.
Right.
Because we were the only place that came out, had news coming out of it. We had CNN, we had BBC, we had NBC, ABC, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. Every publication you could think of, every broadcast you could think of was at the center, learning about Bitcoin and publicizing and broadcasting all this stuff that we were doing because it was so brand new. There's a CNN special by Morton Spurlock.
Nice.
CNN special.
Yeah.
On the trading, we had open pit trading where people traded with each other. It was incredible. We were standing there. All the different agencies wanted to figure out what rules we were breaking. They were trying to figure out what laws we were breaking, but they couldn't figure it out because we weren't breaking any laws. I have on staff, Yale lawyer and other lawyers and stuff, and they gave us the green lights to do what we did, and we didn't do anything. We just invited trader groups over, and they traded with each other. We didn't take a commission. I didn't take a commission or anything. As a matter of fact, I paid for everything by selling Bitcoin at $30, and there was the expenses were about $130,000 a month, $128,000 a month, and we were selling Bitcoin at $30 to pay for those expenses. We bought the booze. We invite everyone over because I'm more an activist than a Wall Street guy. We opened 100 feet from the New York Stock Exchange on the first floor, 6,000 square feet, space on the ground floor, right next to the New York Stock Exchange. It was ridiculous. All the traders came in, and all of a sudden they started trading. We're all losing our jobs over there. We've all lost our jobs. I know the guy you need because he lost his job 3 years ago, and he's still at home complaining because everything went automated over there, and nothing was face-to-face or peer-to-peer. There were no more peer-to-peer stock trades,
right?
Where they were sort of like proxies for peer-to-peer trades, the brokers that are on the floor. All that had disappeared, and we brought it back. And then I think the state, or who knows, powers that be, didn't want that happening, and they came up with this new license called the bit license, and called something else, but it's usually known as bit license. And what happens is everyone became afraid and they stopped showing up. I'm taking up all the air. Talk to me, Matt. Talk.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. It's really laying the groundwork there and the framework for building the kind of OG original community, and then opening up the sister chapter down here in Miami, doing an amazing job, phenomenal job, building the community out down here. I guess what are you looking forward to? Are you guys expanded in New York? You working on anything up there?
Yeah, we have a big space on the ground floor. Another space. It's 6,200. As a matter of fact, everything shows up at about the same size. On the ground floor, 6,200 square feet. We're building out right now. I mean, we got hit with this quarantine, and everyone's staying home. It's hard to get contracts and stuff like that. But soon the Corona Passover will pass over.
Exactly.
Coronavirus will pass over. It's like we're sitting here in some kind of Passover waiting. We got the goat's blood over the doorway. While we wait over here, huh?
It's like Bitcoin. They always say it's the honey badger of money. Like, honey badger don't care. Honey badger is going to keep moving forward. It's going to keep progressing towards its target. It's going to keep marching on, no matter how many times it gets hit, gets knocked down. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep pushing innovation and building out the community. I know we're, getting low on time here, but I guess if you had to pick one thing you're looking forward to this year in 2020, what would it be? Is it going to be the halving, coming up in less than 2 months now in early May? Are you eyeing up the election in November? What's on your radar for this year?
Listen, I don't really follow the price. I mean, I don't really do that. But I think that fiat currency and central banks, they have to meet. They usually meet in these physical places, and they make decisions and have meetings and all that stuff. And now all these old people that ran these central banks have to start doing video conferencing or something. I'm not sure how that's going to work out that well. But people are going to understand that Bitcoin, more people, I don't know how many more, but more people are going to understand that Bitcoin doesn't need a central bank. It doesn't need a group of people. It doesn't need the euro for what's her name to sign the bill in a big ceremony. It doesn't need any of that because it's going to keep going. It doesn't care about the three-dimensional world. It doesn't care about the COVID virus. It doesn't care about anything. It just keeps going. You don't need buildings full of people. You don't need central banks. You don't need all these mechanisms of humans to do these intricate things to give it value. The IRS got postponed. I mean, the reason why the U.S. the Federal Reserve note got its initial value was because the IRS and the Federal Reserve were pretty much created on the same day almost, on December 23rd, 13. They was it 13? Wow,
quite some time ago.
Yeah. So they were meant the same thing because the Federal Reserve note needed upward pressure, and the upward pressure was that all taxes would be paid in the fiat currency. So that right now is being slowed down, by 90 days. People shied away from all the other competing currencies that existed. There were a bunch of currencies. Every bank had its own currency pretty much. And, department stores had their own currency. And the way they got they tightened that up is that they made gold, Roosevelt made gold illegal to have. So the redeemability went to nothing because you couldn't hold the gold after it was redeemable anyway. It was illegal to own the gold. So the Federal Reserve and the IRS in cahoots gave the original upward pressure and still give upward pressure to the U.S. Federal Reserve note. It's not a U.S. dollar. It's a Federal Reserve note. And Bitcoin doesn't need any of that. These are all humans in coordination. The Federal Reserve side and central bank side, it's all humans in coordination doing specific things to give value to their pieces of paper. Mm-hmm. They can make infinite amounts of. And we don't have to do that. We know that there's only going to be 21 million. The infinite part or the part that we need is on the other side of the decimal. It's not infinite, of course, 100 million Satoshis, which, was like a Trojan horse because when these guys first heard, and I was there when they first heard of Bitcoin and how it worked, and they didn't understand why it would have value because there's only 21 million of them. That doesn't make an economy, but with the 100 million decimal point, it was pretty ingenious because it's like a Trojan horse. The Satoshi's coming. You know, the valuable Satoshi's coming.
Yep.
I think people are going to understand that more and more every day. I mean, right now, people aren't going to go to their American Express office or their MasterCard office or their bank's office. I mean, everything's going to be fucked up. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah. You could say literally whatever the fuck you want. You know, we're adhering to the libertarian values, but you know, I agree 100%. As easy as it is, you know, to get caught up in the headlines, to get caught up in the daily price action, you know, think back, zoom out, you know, remember where Bitcoin was birthed from. Bitcoin was literally created as a response to, you know, the 2008, 2009 crash. So now when you see, you know, the Fed just returning to helicopter money, printing, you know, billions, not even billions, printing trillions of dollars, just throwing money at this virus as fast as they can, you know, throwing money at it is not going to make it go away. You know, the further we go down this path.
Yeah, but they want to keep people. They want to keep people in the house.
Of course,
if they don't have money to buy food. They have to come out of the house,
right?
And they have to come out of the house and eat. So they don't want that to happen. So they have to give people the fiat money, which is going to lower. It's going to increase the price of things that are not unlimited.
Right.
You know. So like real estate, there's only X amount of real estate. There's only X amount of gold. There's only X amount of Bitcoin. And all those things are going to go up because there's an unlimited amount of that paper.
Right.
You can't touch anyway because it's disease.
Bitcoin fixes this.
You don't want to grab a bunch of paper and money, you know. You might have a virus on it.
Ugh, I'm not touching no dirty fiat, you know, but believe that. Bitcoin fixes this. But yeah, we're going right back to the bailouts and the airlines are asking for money. You know, all these companies have spent basically all their cash on stock buybacks and now they're asking for a bailout. You know, there's no additional Bitcoin we can print. There's no bailout we can give, you know, to the Bitcoin CEO. So, you know, the more unsound the dollar looks, you know, Bitcoin is still going to be cranking away, guys. It's been here over 11 years. Block after block, every single 10 minutes, you know, roughly on average. But Bitcoin is going to be here to stay. And I think after the fallout and the chaos of all this, once the dust settles, Bitcoin's going to be looking better and stronger than ever. So definitely glad to have you on Team Bitcoin. But Nick, if people want to learn more about, you know, what you're working on and they want to keep up to date with, you know, what you're doing and your projects, where can they follow you to learn more?
They can follow me on Twitter at Nick Spanos.
Awesome.
Facebook, blockchaincenter.com, bitcoincenter.com. I don't know. There's a lot of other ones. I mean, we're doing a lot of things. I want to thank Erica Gemma for all her help. And not all her help, but all her work in Florida. And Scott Spiegel. I want to thank Scott a lot. All the help he's been doing, all the work he's been doing. These are incredible machines of freedom and liberty. These two guys, these two people. And they're kicking ass. And we're looking for more people around the world. We're setting up in Johannesburg soon. And some other, where is it, Roger? In Cannes, in France, we're setting up.
Wow.
Yeah, Toronto. We're looking at Toronto. We have a few groups in Toronto. And we're going to set up all over the world. And we're going to help everyone bring it down to the granular local level because we believe onboarding is everything because people just don't understand it. And more and more people are understanding it. Once they understand it, they buy it and they get involved. So
yep,
we believe in that. And we have to move forward boldly and convert as many people as we can to have them utilize the people's money. Because money wasn't supposed to be by government. Money is supposed to be gold and silver before this technology, because you got to be able to send it over the wire.
Right.
You can't send gold or silver over the wire. So that's where the limited to 12 million a billion, 12 million big. Oh, what am I talking about?
21
million. 21 million Bitcoin limit emulates the three-dimensional world and the value from scarcity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're all about the mass adoption here, and very glad to have you on Team Mass Adoption. And like you said, the more we get the word out, the more people learn. You know, it's a no-brainer. You don't need an economics degree to figure out that something limited to 21 million units when there's over 7 billion people on the world. Even if this only hits 5, God forbid 10% global adoption, you know, it's a no-brainer at the end of the day. So thank you so much, Nick, for joining us. We really appreciate that. Shout out to the whole team. Like you said, shout out to Erica, shout out to Scott, the whole team down here. Thank you guys. Stay safe in New York, my guy. Stay inside and try to order from the bodega, I guess, from an app or something, man.
No, you're not allowed to order. You got to have a bunch of food already in the house. What if the guy sneezes all over your food?
Oh, can't be having that. Can't be having that. Bitcoin fixes this, baby. Thank you so much, Nick. Really appreciate your time. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you, man. Your work is incredible, and I want to see more of you, of your work.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just getting started here with the podcast. This is episode 2, but big things ahead, big guests ahead that'll be announced soon. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Everyone stay safe out there, buy Bitcoin, and move to Miami.
Excellent. Take care.
Strategically located in downtown Miami's emerging business district, the Blockchain Center is the premier hub of the Americas for teaching, networking, and building the distributed future. Our mission is to manifest the mass adoption of blockchain technology and onboard the next 6 billion people to the global monetary revolution.